So I think it's safe to say, with countless action cameras flooding the market from the likes of DJI, GoPro, Sony, and companies you've never heard of before like SJ Cam with their new dual lens camera, it makes it really hard to pull the trigger. Now this is the latest from Insta360 and it's called the Ace Pro. I only think it's right that I give you my honest review about this thing. Let's gain some perspective.
I mean, it's got a pretty wide perspective at 16mm. This is the Ace Pro with sharpening on low, but everything else in auto, 4K 30. So, like the rest of the tech industry, Insta are obviously using AI. You're probably thinking AI inside of an action camera? Well, you betcha. This camera's actually got a 5nm chip inside of it, which means it can do all of these cool AI effects. Between you and me, I think they're a little bit of a gimmick, and where this chip really shines is in frame-by-frame processing. We're talking here sharpness and enhancements to the image, especially in low light, as to which we'll test in this video.
Now, if we're going to judge on the build quality alone, the Ace Pro gets top marks. Not only does it look the part with a really nice striking red accent surrounding the 1/1.3 Leica sensor, but plenty of robust doors surrounding, which actually need a fair amount of force to operate, which I like to see. You've also got some really nice tactile buttons and a flip-up screen with an extra screen on the front that supplies you with extra information. Going back to that flip-up screen though, compared to the GoPro, it really does help having that angle, especially if you're filming from, let's say, down low. You can still see what you're filming. If you want a quick POV shot, put the screen in your mouth and you should be good to go. A quick note on the mounting options. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The mounting system from GoPro with the screw is now quite dated, but Insta have done here what they did with the Go 3 with their magnetic system. But you see, this is where we find our first problem. You see, when Insta360 released this camera, one of the many demographics they targeted for was vloggers. But if you look at the website now for the Ace Pro, there's little to no mention of vlogging.
And you're probably thinking, why? Alex, you're vlogging with it right now. And the problem really isn't obvious until it's pointed out. But it's the minimal focus distance. Things that are close to this camera just aren't in focus. And everything else is, which is great. But if you're vlogging, you're the focus. And obviously, if you get the camera far enough away from the subject, the footage will look okay. It's only when you get quite close up that things get a little bit blurry.
Now the device itself is actually really simple to operate. It turns on super quick with a button click and is easy to navigate with this nice big touchscreen on the back. If you click in here, you can go ahead and choose all of your shooting modes. That's resolution and the frame rate. As you can see, we've got loads to choose from in here. If you go back, you can also quickly choose your FOV. You've got action, ultra, de-warp, and then the horizon lock, which, like it says, keeps the horizon locked. And then if you swipe in from this side, you've actually got all your camera controls. And if you're feeling devilish, you can click it into manual mode. And then you've got manual control of all of the things like your max ISO, your shutter speed, and your EV value for if you're blowing out or trying to underexpose. You can also film with different profiles. So if you're wanting to color grade later, put it in flat, you should be good to go. So what's it actually like to shoot with? What's the footage like? Well, we're at that part of the video. Let's start with the most challenging scenario, filming at nighttime. Pure Video is a mode inside the Ace Pro which can help with nighttime filming, doing things like adjusting the contrast, dynamic range, brightness, etc, etc. And it does all of this automatically. Pure Video mode works better in low light with moving subjects, not static. Putting this side by side with the latest Hero 12 from GoPro, it's clear to see the winner, and the Ace Pro definitely takes the crown for the low light shooter. I also used the Ace Pro at an event I set up whilst I was filming some of the DJs who were helping us out on the night. And to my surprise, even in these harsh lighting conditions, the Ace Pro still delivered some surprisingly usable footage, even though it was the smallest camera I had with me on the night. And it also quite happily sat there and recorded the whole evening, the full 4 hours in 1080p whilst connected up to a USB-C power bank, and it didn't hiccup once. Nice. With outdoor shots and natural lighting, it's really hard to pick a winner, but ultimately it boils down to a few things. We filmed side by side with the Hero 12 and the Ace Pro in 4K 30, and this blew our minds. When you've got the footage side by side, we notice something a little strange on the GoPro. Pause, yep, now you can see that pole, the tree, and the sky. If you look at the image from the Ace Pro, it's tack sharp, with clear definition between the pole and the sky behind it, as well as all the twigs on the tree in front. If you compare this to the GoPro, the pole is nearly non-existent. It's just been blended into the sky. And as well as this, the GoPro has somehow magically removed the twigs that were in front of the pole. Now, here's the Insta again for some comparison. And as you can see, it's literally night and day. So if you ask me which camera has the more powerful processor and dynamic range, I think at this point it really is clear to see that this AI chip is more than just a gimmick. Now, 8K in an action camera is really silly, but Insta have put it in here because they've got a quad wayyy sensor. Yeah, you heard me right. This basically means, yes, you can record in 8K, but if you record in 4K, you can digitally crop into the image, so basically zoom without losing any of that resolution. 8K, I'm not really a massive fan of yet, but this feature is game-changing. Now, unfortunately, I can't really give you a winner for this category. Looking at the GoPro Hero 12 side by side with the Ace Pro, it really is hard to see which camera is doing a better job at stabilizing the footage. That being said though, they both are exceptionally stabilized, and both cameras come with features like horizon lock, which if you don't know what that is, you can literally twist the camera and your horizon will stay level. As far as detail is concerned, I think the AI story has another say here. Side by side with the GoPro cropping in at an unforgivable 400% to the bricks on this church, you can see that the Ace Pro retains far more detail in the older brickwork as to where the GoPro just seems to smooth it all out. Again, we are cropped here at 400%. But if you're asking me what camera retains the most detail in a well-lit scenario, the answer's the Ace Pro. The app is also really good. I didn't think I'd like it, but it's actually a really easy way to change the settings and see what you've recorded, and also do things like firmware updates. Getting all of the controls for your camera onto a bigger screen, the one you've got with you pretty much all the time, is really cool. And plus the fact phones are getting so powerful nowadays, almost replacing the need for any sort of personal computer. A lot of people are using things like CapCut to edit their TikToks and Reels, and even full-length YouTube videos like this. So the ability to save the photos from the camera wirelessly to your camera roll really doesn't go missed. Speaking of wirelessly, Insta360 also sent out the GPS preview remote. This basically gives you the ability to control your camera wirelessly with the touchscreen on your wrist, and it's awesome. You can simply imagine a situation where the camera is mounted, let's say on top of your helmet, and you can't see to change the settings. With this on your wrist, it's literally the key to the camera. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when this camera was released, I was really skeptical about it, with Insta360 taking this whole AI route with the latest release. But I've learned over the last month using this camera that there's so much behind this AI. It's not just funny looking goofy videos that are good for one laugh and that's about it. In my eyes, AI is just a powerful way of saying computational photography and videography, helping you get better shots. And like I mentioned earlier, with this camera, as long as you're about 15 inches away from the lens, you should be in focus and good to go. That is its only downside that I've found whilst using it. So the million-dollar question, should you buy this over a GoPro? I mean, it's really close. And to be honest, if you get either of these, you're gonna be happy. But the pole shot really was the nail in the coffin for me. Seeing it tack sharp on the Ace Pro and blurry on the GoPro, really strange. So if you're asking me, what should be your next action camera purchase? I would go with the Ace Pro. I've really enjoyed using it. But for now, my name's been Alex, this has been TechFlow, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.